Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Oh, a little bit of afterthought there.
Yeah,
Hey, come on, everybody.
we're here.
We're here. It's Monday night. It's time for Tottenham Away. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you all on board. We have a star-studded load of guests here. So we got Mahri, Iggy, Lee, and TJ. Welcome, TJ. Nice to have you on board, man. How's things with you?
Things are great. Thanks for having me on. Contrary to popular belief, I am not a Spurs fan. But I do enjoy. Yeah, can you believe it? I do enjoy hanging out with you guys, though. So thanks for having me on, and I really, really appreciate it.
That's right, man. You're more than welcome. Can you just move your head to the right a little bit?
Yeah, cover that.
No, I gotta stay right here.
No, the other one is all right. The other one's all right. We don't mind the other one.
How you been, Lee?
Good, JP. Thank you. Good.
Yeah. Looking forward to beach volleyball by the looks of it.
Well, what else are they going to come up with next year? Concerts, beach volleyball, bit of F1. Waiting for crochet and bowls next.
Oh, yeah, bowls. Iggy, how are you?
I'm all right, man. I feel like it's been a while since I've been on. You know, what is it? I wasn't in last week. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It feels like a lifetime. But I'm good. We signed anyone yet?
Well, we're coming to that. We're coming to that.
Goalkeeper. Apparently, he was there today, wasn't he, or yesterday? Still,
yeah, he's doing his
you know what Levy's like? He's probably signed. He'll just probably announce it at the end of the window. Just
they don't want to put it on the books until the 1st of July. They're not putting on the books. Otherwise, it gets paid for June.
You can't come into June's payroll.
No, it's got to be signed. 1st of July, the announcement will be.
Payday's the last working day of the month. you gotta see it out, man. Hey, Mahri.
Hey.
You keeping well?
I'm
fantastic show last week.
Oh yeah. It's been good. Excited about. I know at the end of the show we will tell people more about World Football Media later on, but
good shout.
Yeah, man. Got one participants right here, and some of the other guys will be on there, but it's going to be really some good things. So I'm excited about that, and of course, man, I'm really excited about today. Just some of the news that's come out because, like I said, we as a fan base needs to calm down.
It's quiet, eh? We've got nothing to talk about. It's a
JP,
Monday.
just real brief though. Whilst Mahri touched upon that subject, our second channel, which was obviously when we started it up, it was named it Tottenham Away 2. It will now be called World Football Media. That's what Mahri was referring to. Mahri, just give us a little insight, a 30-second insight of what we can expect from that second channel, World Football Media.
Well, on World Football Media, what you can find, we already had our first show, which was Football Away, which will discuss everything, transfers, the rumors, what's going on. Jose Mourinho suspended. West Ham has been banned for 2 games. We'll talk about South America, okay? The All Black, the Brazil team, first time ever for anti-racism. So the next Football Way, which is going to be Thursday, we're going to talk about Messi and his doing the Recruitment testimony down in South America. Talk about the big news about the FIFA World Cup, the Club World Cup, which is going to be in the United States. It's going to be a big game player. Real Madrid, some of these clubs, they want to be the first Club World Cup winner, and talk about the format of that. We'll talk about new signings. We'll continue to talk about Saudi Arabia. It's been official, some of the signings. But then we're also going to have some interesting shows. We're going to have Prem Lounge, kind of like Spurs Lounge here on Tottenham Away. We have a Spurs Lounge, and we're going to get all different, not only the Big Six, but, Leicester fans. Well, yeah, they can still, well, no, they're not in the Premier League anymore. So we will, yeah, whoops.
Apologies.
Everton fans, Burnley fans, we'll have on there. We'll even have a lot of trash talking down. Yeah, the Arsenal versus Tottenham show, and just get a lot of participants there. I'm trying to work on big thing. I'm trying to get some major plays also from the enemies, Chelsea and Arsenal. So it's going to be just a good fun old time. For the month of July, we're going to have our great debates. We're going to have a debate on the best Premier League team, the best top 11. So those are type of topics. We're going to have the best Champions League. So it's going to be a lot of
content coming our way, isn't it? We're gonna be obviously as the other leagues start as well. We're gonna be touching on the Serie A, La Liga. We'll mix it up from week to week. So plenty of content coming your way from that channel. So if that is something that interests you, for sure, guys, smash that like to subscribe to World Football Media, and make sure you activate the notification bell where any live content or even recorded content goes up there, you guys will be the first to be notified on your devices. But listen, JP, we have to talk about
guys in the comments.
We have to say hello to everyone, right?
I just want to say hello to everyone. So LA007. So I'll call the names out. You can give them a hello. We got Robert.
Hello.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Big up, Tone.
Mr. Ryan Isaacs, big up, man. Nice to see you. Rico.
Big up, everyone.
We've got Simon Cohen, Totspur, and a wonderful lady here.
I don't know who she is. Let me move on.
Big up to
I'm
her.
kidding. Big up.
Louis K. J.O. JJ.
From South Africa, big up.
OJ Baker. Is that J.O.?
Yep. I'm assuming
Directly
that's what it is,
from
right?
South Africa,
Yeah.
Rams, nice to see you, man. Scott M, main man. JJ again, I think. David Clark. We have Language Angels. Amit.
Big up. Stel's having a little break, guys. He'll be back. He's just taking a little break, chilling out. For those of you asking who Estel is,
Robert,
he's enjoying a little break.
He's on holiday.
He's gone to sign Maddison. He's going to try and get Maddison over the line for us.
He's going to make sure he's going to get him over the line, right?
Yeah, one go.
Hey, I don't hate Man United. Where does that come from?
Mahri firing shots at Wayne Holland. There you go. Big up Easy. Big up DJ Marcus. What's up, man?
Best DJ in town.
Colin, Ryan, Mr. Post Office.
Big up.
Iggy just told you. Dexter.
He's having a little break, guys. He'll be back soon.
Chris, Colin, the Spurs bench. There you go. That's everybody. Right, where are we going to start? Jazz Fusion. Oh, is a latecomer. Jazz Fusion coming in there. Just want to ask you guys your opinion on our friend Paratici. What's your feelings about suddenly hearing that? Do you know what? Even though he got banned, and even though apparently he shouldn't be working.
Well, as a consultant, he can still be part of some of his roles. He can still cover. So really, he's a consultant now. So it's quite an expensive consultant, I must say.
I thought it was a total no football ban.
Well, before he used to be a chef. He used to do all the cooking. Now he cannot cover those duties anymore. So he's cutting the avocados. He's making the salads. He's still very participant in the kitchen, just not the cooking part of it.
He's accidentally got his Word document on share so that other folks can accidentally access it and see what's kind of like what the content is. I mean, does that goalkeeper signing smell of him?
Uh,
What
listen, that maybe he was on a short list. Maybe, maybe he was one of the players that they were covering whilst he was there. But obviously, it turns out, even though we all thought we was going for David Raya, they didn't want to pay the 40 million plus pounds on a player that's entering his final year of his contract. And this goalkeeper, who had a good season, but he still played for Empoli, which is like a mid-table team in Serie A. So, and is not a player that's played in the Premier League. So again, it's going to be if it goes well, it's an absolute masterclass. And if it doesn't, then but that's what we're playing is the percentages. But he's here now, man. He's our number one, Mr. Guillermo Vicario. So you got to get used to it.
it was reported by the great Ali Gold that they've been looking at Vicario since January, him and Gabarini. And like I put out the video last week, and what we mentioned last week was, everybody claiming, "Oh, okay, we did it the Brighton way. We turned down," which doesn't make sense because Brighton, those are usually go after players who are rated at 40 million euros. So I don't know how that's the Brighton way. But if it was the Brighton way, we should have been talking to Vicario in the first place rather than Raya. But as Ali Gold reported, that they've been looking at Vicario since January.
January, right? Yeah.
Since January. So it's just, like I said last week, that the way we do business is still Levy. It's still the Levy process, the Levy way. And now that the fact that reports coming out that Paratici still consult on some deals and some things that are going on, that is absolutely hilarious. For all those who were going, it's a new day. We hired Big Ange. It's a new day. We're doing business like Brentford and and all the professionals. We're doing work like City, like professional. As long as Daniel Levy is in charge, we're going to do it his way. There's no Brighton way, Brentford way. It's Levy's way. And the very fact that the guy is banned, and yet he is still within our club, giving advice on here, and these players left and right, it's telling. It's worrying and it's telling. And it goes to show that we don't have a plan. We don't have a plan. We still don't have a director of football. It is what it is.
What's your thoughts, Lee?
I mean, the guy shouldn't even be here in the first place, right? Anyone that employs someone that's got something like that hanging over their head is just deluded. But I mean, at the end of the day,
Is that a worry? Just kind of like while you answer your question, Lee, like, is that a worry? What's below there?
No, as long as he's not doing anything that he's not allowed to do. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's just contacts within someone giving someone's phone number for a contact for an agent or something like that, I'm sure he's absolutely fine in doing that. Or he's probably just left his little black book on his desk, open on the right page. Just give these guys a call. It's like Argos fucking catalogue. Just open that on page 25. There's a nice little Italian here. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. But one thing I'd like to say about this goalkeeper, I mean, you look at him, you look at his highlights, you look at his stats. I mean, he is slightly behind Raya. I wouldn't be surprised if Raya ends up going somewhere completely different or stays at Brentford, because no one else seems to be wanting to come in for him now. We've stepped away. Apparently, Man United, because De Gea is on the verge, isn't he? He's on that list. The only thing that worries me about this goalkeeper more than anything is that when you watch his highlights, he's a bit like me. So I play in goal on a Friday night, and I'm only about 5'1". So, but it's only 7-a-side, so I get away with it. But he's very unconventional in the way that he plays in goal, And the way I say that is that when you see goalkeeping coaches and the way that they train you to, go down to your sides or whatever you want to, however you want to call it. I mean, my other coach is a goalkeeping coach, and I try and watch him, see what he's doing. But there's a very specific way that you do it, etc. And he seems to be very unconventional. He's a great shot stopper. He stops them, but the kind of way that he does it is just looks a bit awkward. But give him his due. He's doing all right. But we'll just see. I mean, we can't until we get any kind of showing this guy in a Tottenham shirt, whether it's a pre-season or whatever. We'll never know. But apparently, he's having his medical test right now.
Yeah, I saw something about there was someone spotted at Luton Airport who was working for the club who was speaking to someone's auntie's dog's kind of walker, and he was coming. He was coming. DJ, what's your take on it?
My take on it is Paratici is back like Michael Corleone in Godfather 3. Okay. Just when you thought he was out, you pulled him back in. He's pulling the strings because Daniel Levy wants it that way. If it looks that way, it smells that way, it probably is that way. And I do believe that this is a Levy signing. I can't see how POSTECOGLOU would want anybody less than Raya if he's going to want to make an impact. Raya's at least Premier League proven. I know people are saying, oh, well, that Premier League proven, thing is a myth. I don't think it's a myth. I think the Premier League is a completely different speed than Serie A. Again, I don't watch every game like our friend Strasbourg Steve does, but I do know that it is a completely different speed, a completely different game. Also, did any of these people watch Empoli? Do we know if they had a back line that was better than Eric Dyer and Romero? Do we know? These are questions that are going to get answered real quick. So I'm hoping that, I'm not hoping because I hope you guys suffer more. but all I'm going to say is if you guys want to succeed, you guys got to get some more people in that back line that aren't named Eric Dyer because he's not it. And so right now he's your second choice center back. So
you're absolutely right. I mean, this is what I was saying I can't remember if I said it in today's video or the video I did the other day, the morning one. I said it's important that we've gone. I wouldn't go as far as saying that this goalkeeper is a novice because he has played in Serie A and he's been, although he was playing in 2017. He was playing in Serie C, which is the third division.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gone up the ranks quite quickly into Empoli. So what I'm saying is, whilst we didn't go for David Raya, to now we have to work on that centre back, the person that's going to partner Romero. So we need to form that trio, very strong, solid trio, the centre backs and the goalkeepers. Now, the goalkeeper's not one that's played in the Premier League before. And I don't want to go with a novice or relatively novice sort of centre back to partner Romero because then you have two new players entering in the most important part of the team, or certainly an important part of the team, that have never played in the Premier League. They don't know anything about the Premier League. Of course, they're watching like everybody else, but playing it is a different setup. So, and we need to find that partner that can complement Romero's style, somebody that's got a calming influence, but also a level of experience, perhaps leadership qualities, which our defense don't have. In addition to what you just said about the goalkeeper and the tempos of Serie A, the goalkeepers in Serie A tend to be more worked on shot stopping. So there's a lot more long distance shots in European football for sure, and Italian football mainly in and around the box. Mm-hmm. But in the Premier League, you do get tested a lot more in set pieces, corner kicks, aerial. A goalkeeper that's got to be commanding is in 6-yard box, coming out to claim the ball to relieve pressure from the defense. There is shot stopping, of course there is, but also there's that side of the game that is a lot more in the Premier League than say Serie A. So that I'm looking forward to seeing how he copes with that test. But again, it's tests that this new goalkeeper would have to fit into in the Premier League. Now, we're talking about Carter Vickers as well today as part of the defenders that we're looking to bring back because he's worked with
Mahri,
Oh, do you see what I mean? When
As,
I mean,
as that,
it might.
as
Don't
that
do it.
rebuild,
It may be paper talk. It may be just one of those names that are being thrown out there. But I really hope that we get this one right because that defense needs to be. We need to start building that spine. Now we're talking, and I'm sure we're going to touch upon it as well. Harry Kane's links with Bayern Munich. That spine for me has to be really solid this season. Defense, goalie, midfield with Basuma. Hopefully he'll come into his own. Maddison, I don't know. And then obviously we need to see the Kane situation. There's quite a lot riding in the next few weeks for sure.
Yeah.
well, let's go. Let's delve into these transfer rumors then. Obviously we know. Okay, so like in terms of what's or who's signed so far, we know we've got Kulu, right? Which is
Yeah.
technically someone who we've signed, even though I guess he's put pen to paper and he's kind of our player now. Oops, we've lost
He'll
Lee.
be back.
So that's kind of like one thing. I was going to also touch on Porro because I was reading something yesterday or today, and the fact that apparently the deal with Porto kind of means that we've got a sign in by the 1st of July. Is that something you guys have heard about?
I read something about it earlier on, but I'm sure it has to be signed by the 1st of July. What, the full fee has to be paid?
I don't know if the full fees. No, actually, yeah, I think it has because we bought him on a loan, didn't we? And like
Yeah.
the loan was just from January till the end of the season.
I'm sure something would be sorted out. There's no way Porro is not going to be staying at Spurs. Absolutely no way.
Over here.
I'm reading 5.5-year contract
Hmm.
on loan till the end of the season with an obligation to make the deal permanent in the summer. So
Hmm.
yeah, they have to make it permanent during the window. But yeah, so basically what he said.
So that's kind of, I guess, another pot of money gone, right? In terms of his signing. And then what? There's obviously lots of news kind of like gathering at the moment about Maddison and Maddison agreeing terms. And I think one of the things I find strange, and this was also with Raya, right? How can terms get agreed with a player before we've even got something with the club sorted out?
We know it. Yeah, they get tapped up. Let's have it right here. They get it. They get in touch with the agent. The agent organizes everything. They say what they want. They say they agree. It's like, so all it comes down to in the end is the two clubs agreeing a fee, whilst the player has already made these arrangements via the agent with the club anyway. So that was done. That was all taken care of. So once the two clubs find an agreement, boom, it's done. It's not the right. It's not the. I want to say legal way. It's not. But it does happen. It does happen.
It's not the traditional way, should we say?
It's not a traditional way, call it that way. But we all know that it goes. Personal terms are always done a lot quicker than the clubs sorting out a fee, agreeing to a fee.
The thing is, when the Madison, and like I said, I think the board is, and I'll say this again, people thought Big Ange, and that's anybody that has come in that now magically, our board and Levy has got this shit together. No, it's the same still. It's the still same confusion, and it's within our fan base, right? I rate James Madison. I would love for him to be in the club, right? But everybody was complaining about Raya being 40 mil, and then celebrating we got Vicario for 20, which I think Vicario is solid. My mates in Italy say he's good, and I hope he does well. Now you get to Madison, right? They're looking for 60, right? Let's just look for 60, right? Reports are saying we're trying to get him for 40, right? And then I look at what Manchester United is looking at. They're looking at a starlet Taylor Booth from FC Urchik to be in their midfield, right? If our fan bases want us to be analytical, right? To find the hidden gems, right? To be Brighton, I mentioned them. Why are we not looking for the new Luka Modric around Europe? Why are we not looking for someone that 17, 18, 20 mil rather than go after Madison, which like I said last week, I have to see it to believe it. We're not paying 50, 60 for Madison. I don't think we're going to even pay him for 40. So why are we wasting our time? You know, you're going to hear, okay, we come to terms with the player, but you notice it's not coming to terms with the club. So for me, I'm just sitting back and I'm just watching this whole process. Like I said last week, I have no expectations, but I'm just listening to what fans are saying. I'm looking at what the board is doing. We don't know what philosophy that we want to do. Because if we want to be the true analytical writing way, that we need to be looking at the Alex Scotts, right? We need to be looking at the younger players, right? But like I said, this club is
It's caught between a rock and a hard place, isn't it, Mahri? Because while they want to do it on the cheap, he also wants top 4, right? That's kind of the ultimate aim every season, isn't it? It's like reaching that top 4 goal, right? And if suddenly it becomes threatened in some way whatsoever, oh, let's now go and splurt some cash.
Yeah, and I'm with Mike. I just don't see us. I think it's more of appeasing the fans that we went after Madison, but that we don't sign him and then we get somebody else. Because, like I said, I'm hard pressed to see us be paying that price for James Madison. And I would love for him to come in, but I know my club. I know my club very well.
The
I
thing
think
is,
if they want
thing is,
60 and we
Mahri,
want 40,
it brings
it's-
everyone into turmoil, doesn't it? Because it kind of gets everyone on this little Madison train, and then you go and get like some other guy from Holland.
second choice.
Always after him from January, and then the fans are just like they've been kind of woven up into this mental hysteria almost, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we got Joe Rodon, brilliant. There you go, and you were saying,
No, listen. I think. Listen, we all know the player's a quality player. Madison's quality, but I think you cannot go on making a team. You cannot, get a goalkeeper. You saved yourself 20 million from spending 40. You spend just under 20 even to get Vicario instead. When we all thought it'd be with David Raya, we're looking to get ex defender. Van der Ven is a new name now that's been mentioned. Topsobia is the other one from Leverkusen. You might get a good deal there, but at some point you do have to go and purchase established players, which is what Madison is. So if you go and get a goalkeeper who's not proven yourself in the Premier League, but you got him now, you go and get a defender from Germany that plays, or another defender plays football somewhere else. You're bringing him to the Premier League. You have to give him time to settle. Goalkeeper time to settle. You can't then go and get an attacking midfielder who's also unproven. So I think at some point you have to go and get established players, but also because you're limiting the percentage of risks that you're bringing into your team. So I think somebody like Madison, for me, there's a crazy part in my head that actually believes that we will bring him in. Maybe not at this 60 that they want, maybe at the 40 that we want, but maybe that the fine line will be somewhere in between. Perhaps we'll be able to get some add-ons there as well. I don't know, but I think in the end we will bring him in because one, we truly need a player of that those qualities, technical qualities, and vision and everything else. We do need a player like that. Two, I don't think we can gamble on getting a player that's not done it in the Premier League before. And three is the English quota as well that comes into it. I think there's three factors that I feel is going to probably push to bring that player in. Also because there's, from what's been discussed, he prefers a move in London. I don't know if it's family reasons or what have you. He has said, as we've been reportedly said, that he'd rather stay in London than go up North
You
in
gotta think.
Newcastle.
You gotta think about this, right? You
Sorry,
gotta think
man, I
about
didn't
this.
hear.
Of
Say that
course,
again?
London is. No, you got to think about this. London is, I mean, it's a beautiful city. It's a wonderful city. You know, you guys live there, but it's
Yeah.
also now in London. There's distractions, right? People say about his attitude. He could be a bit of a. He could be a bit of a douche. So now he's in London, right, with his girl. You know, partying. Partying up and stuff like that. Um, I would hope if he does come to Spurs that he studies how Harry and no one should live their life according to somebody else, but you know the characters on our team. We are lacking leadership, and so we don't want him like
To
Dele
be
Alli,
easily led astray.
going to every club on Fridays and Saturday nights. Like Dele Alli, right? Remember, it's partying is what messed him up. So it's you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Well, if you
ultimately, these guys
believe,
are professionals, man. They've got to do their job. Sorry, Lee.
oh no, I was just going to say, if you're led to believe what you're led to believe in terms of Ange and his way that he manages, I don't think he's going to stand for that kind of shit. I mean, I just, but going back to what we were saying before, I just think this whole Paratici thing and Ange is could be a real fucking banana skin at our place, because you know that he doesn't like working with people, and if he's been apparently quoted saying that he knows this goalkeeper and he knows who he is, and he does fit into the way that he plays, etc. He could do. So I'm hoping that. But if Paratici starts rocking up and just starts buying players that he's got no interest in whatsoever, this could be a real fucking shitstorm, because he doesn't work like that. That's not how he works. And I'm hoping, Madison. He's a big admirer of Madison's. He actually said that, so that's fine. But these other two guys as well, these centre backs, you would hope that he's the one that's pointed them out. He said, "Look, you've got a couple of young guys here from Europe, looking good. Stats all right." You would hope so,
Yeah.
because if not,
Lee, you just ruined it
what?
for poor old Chris's little girl.
What's that, man? I don't know. It's talking about the story.
Oh well.
I'm only joking.
God,
Carry on, mate.
I won't bring anything up
Chris,
else.
you should have known better.
Yeah.
You should have known
Carry
better,
on,
Chris.
mate.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Uh,
Oh,
No, I know what you
I
mean.
just ruined a child's night. Sorry about that. Yeah, I
Never
hope
had
it's. I hope there's no. It's not starting fires that don't need to be started in the first place before the guys even started, because that would not be a good start to the season. It really won't. He's got to have a finger in every pie that's going on that we're hearing about at the moment. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
And that's kind of what you've heard from every other club, haven't you? They've kind of almost given him the reins to say, "All right, we trust you. Run it how you want. Tell us which pieces that you want for that jigsaw, and that's what we'll give you." What's your thoughts on the whole thing, TJ?
James Madison, number one. I don't know why anybody would question James Madison. He is a baller. If you would have asked me a week and a half ago, before this Kai Havertz garbage started up, I would take James Madison over Kai Havertz any day of the week. I think James Madison is so solid in that center mid. I think moving to London and getting players around him that can support him better than he was supported at Leicester, man, you might have a real baller there. I mean, he had 10 goals and 9 assists in a Dross team last season. Dross. I think he's going to perform at a team that can support him. So that's just me. I really wish Arsenal would have been in on him, to be honest with you. I think the kid can play. As far as Paratici's concerned, I don't think y'all really need to worry about it. I think Big Ange is probably going to be, Big Ange is going to need to get what he wants. Otherwise he'll leave. I mean, it's as simple as that. Big Ange doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to be like, it's going to take BS. I don't know about you guys. I mean, maybe he sees the job at a Big Six team and gets all starry eyed and changes his ways. But Yeah, I don't think
But
that he's going to do that.
I'm hard pressed. Like I said, I back our manager. I expect him to do well.
Yeah.
When I hear about the stuff of he's not going to take crap, we just went through Jose, who's the ultimate not going to take crap. Conte, who said he's going to
He's the
kill
bigger. He's the bigger.
bigger. So
Horse heads.
I have to see it to believe it. You know, I see Ange from what I know as a disciplinarian, but we've had other disciplinarians before, so I'm kind of like wait and see things because we still have the players committee led by Eric Dyer on on the squad. So, and you know what they do to coaches. So, I'll wait and see.
Well, you would just hope that maybe Ange will have a better reputation with the players than Conte and Mourinho did. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand why, and maybe you guys can help me help me through this a little bit. So when Conte got all on the players, right, and called them out in the media saying these guys aren't hungry, did you guys think that was a condemnation of the players themselves, or just the organization not having a winning mentality as a whole? Because if you still have those players there, their attitude isn't changing with the manager, unless the manager is some sort of like pep type player, manager. But Ange is not that yet. So what do you guys think? Maybe I can answer a question with a question and be rude here. Do you guys think that that Ange actually can get these players on side? I mean, he's never going to get Levy on side. Levy's going to be Levy, right? Yeah. Levy's going to do what Levy is going to do. But are the players going to get behind him? I think that's the biggest question, because the players got behind Poch, right? You saw that. And for a while they were behind Mourinho.
I think TJ, for me, this is how I think of it. There's three factors that happen even with Conte. With Conte, was the passing of John was a massive. It actually hurt us quite a bit. Also because of the with Conte's situation, when he went away through his own personal problems, and he came back, he didn't see the team quite the same way as he had left it at the end of last season or the season before now. Something had clearly changed in his mindset. Also, something in him changed through the passing of the coach, and then obviously his time apart from the team. Something in him, maybe going back to Italy, made him. I don't know. Something changed in him, and the players themselves. But also the fundamental part for me, out of all of this, is that the players weren't enjoying the way they were playing. I don't think they enjoyed the Jose way. It worked for a while. But then Jose started throwing players under the bus publicly. I think with Conte, I think it got stagnant with two factors. One, he wasn't backed with the players that he probably requested to bring in the team. His way of working with a 3-5-2 or whatever, or a 3-4-3, whatever, it wasn't appealing to watch. Even from our point of view, looking in, it wasn't great to watch. So I can't imagine the players enjoying playing football for him. But I think what may considerably change with Ange, is the style of play might be more appealing for the players. The way he looks at football, the way he talks about football, and the way his philosophy of the game may suit the players who are more prone to be more attracted and more stimulated by playing attacking football. If we then back the manager by bringing in 2-3 players that he knows really well to help him with that philosophy, then it could work. I'm not saying it's going to take a little while, but it could work. But it all comes down at some point or another, the link between Levy, the manager, and the players. It will come down. I think he will get something going, and then after a while, it'll be like, right, Levy, who can you get in? Which players? Can you get me this player? Or will we always revert to getting a second, third choice player, the cheapest option? at some point that your owner has to back the manager and bring in exactly who he wants to help him to cement the way we see football, because he cannot do it. We got 11 players coming back from loan. They have to be. We got some dead wood coming back, and
Assessed, right? They'll have to be
well,
assessed.
he's gonna assess, but let's have
Focus.
it. He will know. He will have all the files ready. He will know exactly how they got on, and we have to ship them out. That's a job and a half. That's a big job to try and sort that out, and that's a lot of money sitting there doing nothing. So,
I think the worst thing, Iggy, is like, as you say, it's quite massive, and the time span before we kind of try anything is like smaller and smaller and smaller, isn't it?
absolutely, yeah.
It goes back to, and we won't know what was said to Ange. What is the objective? Does Daniel Levy and the board really think that this is a club that could be a top 4 club, or is this a rebuild? And if it's a rebuild or a project, then, like I said, I rate James Madison. He's awesome, but I'm like, what did we should be after that, a Scott or another hidden gem? Because that's what Big Ange. That's what we've been told. Big Ange works with hidden gems, right? Throughout Europe, throughout Asia, right? These are the type of places that we should be getting. At the same time, getting rid of the deadwood, right? You right? They say Big Ange wants 10 plays out. I did a short video that's going to post later on of the difficulty of getting 10. Like realistically, 7 players, because remember now the loan, you can only loan 6 players out, right? So getting 10 players out is extremely hard. Our squad is bloated. It is bloated.
The thing is, Mahri, if he names these players, the 10 players he wants out, which I'm sure will be public knowledge if it isn't already, once he actually verbalizes that he wants them out and we can't get them out because there's just too many to do in one window, where does that leave Ange and these players who just, they know they're not part of anything,
In the middle
they
of
might
nowhere,
have not
right?
shipped
Yeah.
out, and you've now publicly said you don't want them. He has to play this smart. Now, I agree that listen, we all know that he wants them out, but now that he's kind of, once you start publicly saying it, and then you can't ship them out, these players are still part of your squad, and you've now, what motivation would they be under to try and?
That's why I don't.
It's a
That's why I
fine
don't
line,
think.
man.
I don't think that naming and shaming will come. Kind of like, to be honest, I think it'll try and be a bit of a stealth way of getting rid of kind of like some of the players on the quiet, because you're right, as you say, the atmosphere and the emotion around the club would just be a dire place, to use a
No pun intended.
sad word. But yeah, I don't think that naming and shaming will come. But if it's true about 10 players, then it needs to crack on.
Yeah,
No, I kind
agree.
of like literally as like quickly as possible.
The only reason we're not going to get rid of 10 players is because of one person, and that's probably because he overvalues them.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in my video. And you have to think, who's in charge of getting rid of these 10 players? We don't have a director of football, so who is going to get rid of some of these players, as Lee said, who are overvalued? And I said in the video that's going to post later on, kind of jealous of Chelsea. Chelsea, as expressions would say, is trafficking their deadwood
Sorry, even the Middle East wouldn't stoop that low, mate. They're not coming for winks.
Saudi Arabia don't want Wicks. Saudi Arabia don't want gay. Saudi Arabia doesn't want so. I mean,
we can do them a
You got
deal,
more
man.
chance of selling these guys to
10 million.
Chelmsford car boot sale on a Saturday afternoon than you have a fucking
10
Saudi
million
Arabia.
for,
Jesus.
10 million for 10 players. Job done. 10 million
That's
for
it,
10
yeah, bulk
players.
buy. Bulk buy.
So I see the report 10 players. I'm like, we'll be lucky if we get 7, I will be happy. Like put an over and under, right? Like in the betting, right? 7 players, the over, 7 players, 6 being the under, and 7 being even. You know.
The thing is, you can get rid of the players, but the asking price has to be of the worth to the player. You can't overprice them. No one's gonna buy
No one's
those
going to buy them.
players. Nobody's gonna buy those players.
You have to do a
I think
special
I think what will happen is we'll sell a few of those players, but a lot of them will go out on loan again. That's what will happen. There's no way you can get rid of 10 players in one window. It's an
I think the big
impossible task.
the big thing I would say, Iggy, is that clubs outside now know, right? They know we've got to get rid of at least, or
Yeah.
want to get rid of 10 players, right? There's no way they're going to come in on as soon as or as early as possible and go, "Oh, we'll give you 20 million, 50 million, whatever." They're just going to wait, right? They'll just wait it out, because do you know what? Without even naming a price, the price is going to go down. And by the end of the transfer window, we're almost going to be wanting to just give them out as a kind of like a freebie.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a Skywalk ticket, get a player. So there's no kind of want for a club to come in and go, okay, well, let's do a deal now. It would be crazy for me, but
the thing is,
I
to be
would
quite honest, we should have
realistically go-
started already. We should have started that procedure already. Like in June, there's a lot of players that are moving. We should have started that process already, at least from players out, and then start focusing on the players in perhaps in July, whatever. But we should have already been. We're nowhere near that starting that process.
To be fair, Eric, he hasn't started yet, though. Really, has he? 1st of July. I can imagine the first couple of days is all those.
No, not the
players coming
manager.
back.
Not the manager.
Oh,
I'm
not-
talking about the club. The
all
club.
he used on the left.
Yeah, but he's got to. Surely the manager's got to have that conversation with the players first to say, look, you're not in my potential system. We're going to put you up for sale.
So you guys go and talk to your agents and go and get a club.
The thing is, those agents would have been in touch with the club and saying, "What do you want to do with my client? What is the process? What do you have in mind?" You can't just say, "Well, we have to wait till POSTECOGLOU starts on the 1st of July." They'd be like, "1st of July, preseason."
No, absolutely. No, you're right.
Preseason
Those
starts
type
2
of
weeks
players,
later.
you're absolutely right. But for those that are on the fringe, this could be a good
The likes of Winks
discussion with.
and Dombele and Rodon and those players that you know
don't
they're
think
not
it?
part.
No, mate. Ndombele, I think you need to give him a chance. Apparently, they're building a new KFC at the training ground. He'll be fine.
You're on the wind up.
Buy 2 get
I
wings
don't know,
free.
guys. I'll leave the floor to you with Ndombele. I won't discuss that player.
What about
Awesome.
the 2 defenders that we've been linked with? Is it Tapsoba?
Yeah,
Yep.
and Van de Ven.
And that Mickey Van
Van de Ven.
de
So,
Ven.
Van de Ven is quite a young guy. If you want to watch him, he's playing in the under-21s, or has been, and they're playing again tomorrow night. If you want to know what his stats are so far, because I know loads of people like stats, he's played 180 minutes. He's made 1 tackle, and he's recovered 7 balls. But his passing accuracy over 2 matches is 95%.
So playing from
Over
the back.
2 matches.
Is one of his strengths.
So that's
And
not
they're
bad.
all
They're all
left-sided.
speed.
They're all left-sided players. So they're all left-footed players.
But I think the only thing that I would say is probably his shortfall is his age. You put him someone, I think we've all said that Romero needs someone who's got a bit more of a solid head on his shoulders. I don't think he's
experienced.
I don't think he's experienced enough to tame the lion. So I think he's definitely a prospect. Not sure if he's the right one next to Romero, but he is left-sided. Don't know much about Tapsoba. I've not really looked into him just yet.
He's played about 40. I looked him up earlier. He's made like 45 appearances for Leverkusen. He's been a big part of Xabi Alonso's team. I think he's missed like 1 game, so he has quite a bit of experience in the Bundesliga. So it's he's an established player, an international too for Burkina Faso. So he's an established player. So as experience wise, he'll probably be the better selection, say to Van de Ven on that front. But again, I'm looking for a defender that's going to partner Romero, that will complement him, that will take the leadership role. And for the player that I want for that requires spending money. So this is why. I mean, I'm fine to go Van der Ven. I just don't see. Don't forget, you're getting a new left back coming on board, Udoji, a new goalkeeper. We don't know if Reguilon's going to be part of the new plans. I don't know. It's more no than yes at the moment. So if Udoji comes in, you've got Porro's a relatively new player. That leaves Romero as the only player that's played like established
in
for
the
the last
team.
couple in that whole back 4 or 5 players.
But
That's
to be
quite
fair,
a bit of
Ricky,
a gamble.
it's with Ange coming in, it's it's a completely new thing anyway, isn't it? It's going to
a
be
new
new for all
manager
of
as
them.
well, isn't it?
So it's
think-
almost like you're starting a complete fresh across the back there, and the likes envisaging this now. You've got Porro and Udoji, who are very much forward thinking, forward pushing defenders in that sense. But then you've got Chicken Royale and Reguilon maybe as backups. Maybe they're what we're missing. We're missing those players that last year we had no one as backups on the bench. It was just whoever got on the coach in time. Whereas if we kept those guys and they fought each other, then maybe there's just there's something there for the guys to fight over.
I think just
people
before I
get
say hello
lazy
to-
when you've got nothing biting their ass just in case they make a slip up. That's the issue. They get lazy.
Just before I say hello to Will quickly, I think one thing, Iggy, I would say is it would be great. I like totally understand what you're saying, but imagine if the two of them clicked, and because they're both young and they could both grow together in terms of a partnership. It could be something that lasts
JP,
a while. Yeah, you know what I mean?
want to go with the novice and we want to go with the reset, and if we want to go with new players that are going to bring a new, I'm absolutely fine with it. But this expectation of top 4 has got to go. I think you set your standards low and say, look, this season is going to be a season of transition. It's going to be a season of where if we finished 8th, so be it. But we are starting anew. We back the project, whatever project that is. If it's a young project, if it's whatever the established project is, we back it. And we say these are the steps that we're going to take. It may take us a while to go back to I don't know, Champions League, whatever you want to call it, whatever the target is. It may be a season to set that on board, and then the following season we can
Foundations.
start going back the project, whatever project you go, back it sufficiently enough, because fundamentally at the end of the day, whatever project you go with, you want it to succeed and you want to give it the best chance to succeed, and that at some point or another the board have to be on board with that. But look, before we hear Will out, there's nearly 200 people watching, guys, locked in. Thanks very much for tuning in on an off-season night. It's actually really good numbers. Smash that like to the stream, guys, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to both this channel and, of course, what we spoke about earlier at the beginning, World Football Media Channel. Well, my man, over to you. What's your full process on it?
Love in the background.
Thanks. It might be windy and noisy. The power went out here about, what is it? I'm in Central Time now, so around 1:45. So there's no cell service here. So power is back on now, but because I haven't had to be able to charge things up, I'm low on battery, and who knows how long I'll be here. But I wanted to show up. I wanted to be part of the team, and we'll move on from there. But no, I mean, with this POSTECOGLOU thing, man, I hope he gets them all out, dude. I hope he gets them all out, all 10 of them. And
I will.
And look, I know that that there's an issue with it and stuff like that. Like, it's in reality, it's harder than it is. But I'm a hard-nosed, no-nuts kind of guy. And so for me, if they want to cry and moan because they're on his out list, let him, right? He doesn't have to play them. And if he can bring in, I don't know, 10 500K players from Japan that'll play the way he wants to play, I'm okay with that. I mean, as long as it's his players, if it's the ones Daniel Levy wants to set on his mantle so that when he comes down for the day, he can look at them and so he has somebody to eat lunch with at Hotspur Away, I'm not about that, right? I'm not about that. But if they're Postecoglou's players, you know, I'm not going to moan and groan and do all those things about it. And that's the thing that bothers me with this goalkeeper thing. And I know that he's a decent goalkeeper, or at least that's what it sounds like. I'd be lying if I said I watched a lot of Empoli. But if this is what he wanted, I'm okay with it. If it's what Daniel Levy wanted because he didn't want to fork out the $40 million on Raya, I'm not okay with it. Right? This is the way that Tottenham Hotspur works. If he wants these players out, get him out. Right? Honestly, get him out. Get out whoever he wants out. Even if it's Son Heung-min, even if it's Harry Kane, get him out. Right? He will then be the one responsible for it. That's all I've ever asked for any of the players, right? Same thing with backing. When I always said back Conte, it wasn't, you have to go out and get these players or that players or this player. No, it's just get the players Conte needed for Conte's football, right? So that the manager has control, then there's no excuses, right? I want this guy, this guy, this guy. Not, I really want the 40 million pound player, but all we can afford is a 16 million pound player, so let's get him. No, right? Who is the person who best fits what you want as a manager? And that's all that I asked for. I don't care if all he wanted was Vicario at 16 million. If that's what he really wanted, I'm okay. I'd rather take the 16 over the 40 then. But if he didn't want him, we got problems.
And
Back
I think
to you, JP.
that's that's kind of my thing. And I think I was saying a couple of weeks ago was the fact that, do you know what? If we end up getting 2 or 3 players from the J League and a couple of players from here and there that he's kind of like the places that he's been to, even if he nicks a couple of players from Scotland, it would be the fact that he's known them. And I think in one of those documentaries I saw him say after he just came to Celtic, he went to the J League and got that striker. And he was like, I knew that he would get me goals in this type of fast-paced team. Right?
But the club
Bang.
backed him. They
Yeah,
backed
yeah,
him.
yeah,
They believed
yeah,
him.
yeah.
They said, "That's the player you want. We go and get
It
him."
wasn't.
This is my issue.
It wasn't a case of he was 16 million quid or he was 18 million quid or he was 50 million pounds. It was a player, and that's the type of player I expect us to go down the route over the next kind of like year or so, 2 years, which is why I personally also don't think this James Maddison thing's going to come about.
What about the argument that people put up? Okay, you don't want to get the player for the manager. You want to get the player for the club because the manager is not always going to be there. That's that argument that comes out there.
Personally, I understand that if we had a long-term plan and vision and goal, right? But we don't. We literally go from what mood or what side of the bed Daniel wakes up at to go, right, we're going to go this way. We're going to go defensive manager. Right, no, we're going to go like attacking manager. No, we're going to go with a low block and let's not a big spending manager. It chops and changes so much. We don't have a director of football, and we still don't have a director of football right now.
Yeah, if we had a competent director of football who could actually make a plan and then find managers that fit the players, that would be one thing. But we don't, right?
Yeah.
So people can't use that excuse. Right? With all this past week on Twitter, especially probably because there's, I guess, nothing really going on, right? We haven't, other than the goalkeeper, we haven't been close really to signing anybody yet, right? And it's almost July now. You just start seeing the same logical fallacies and stupid, conundrums that pop back and forth. Like with this, I couldn't believe it. I was on a Twitter space, which was a mistake in the first place, but People were so in love with this guy, this goalkeeper, which I'm not one to say like, he's bad, let's throw him under the bush or anything like that. I just don't know. And I don't think anybody knows because he's never played as good as he is in Italy. He's never played in the Premier League. Right? Like even look at a player like what's the Italian number one, the young kid, Donnarumma.
Donnarumma.
When he first switched, it took him time to settle in, right? He went from looking like one of the best goalkeepers in the world to struggling his first season in a new league.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So what makes us think that
And
this
that
guy,
was a good
because
side. The PSG had a good side, not compared to Tottenham.
And so what are they going to make? How are they going to make a case that this guy, who's supposed to be Italy's number 2, their second best goal, not the best, their second best goalkeeper, is going to come straight out of Serie A into the Premier League and just be buckets, right? Because then technically, wouldn't he really be Italy's number 1?
But he's not the 40 million one, he's the 20 million one.
Yeah. And how much did PSG spend on Donnarumma? Close near 100?
It was big
No,
bucks.
they got it. They got him on a free, didn't they? Because he run his contract down at Milan. They got him on a free, but they paid him handsomely, big money. But fundamentally, when you change leagues, and he went to the Serie A to Ligue 1 and coming to the Premier League. It's easier. The transition is easier from the Premier League to go to one of the European leagues than it's the other way around, just because of the speed of the game. It takes a while, and for the goalkeepers, it really is the psychological part of it is massive. You can go minutes without touching the ball in Europe, but in the Premier League, due to the fast pace of it, the goalkeepers are called into action quite a lot. But what comforts me that we've gone to a goalkeeper who's quite good with his feet here. He is a modern day goalkeeper. I can't remember who it was that mentioned it earlier on. That has an unorthodox way of playing goalkeeper. Look, I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. That part, that's the part that I enjoy. When I don't know a player too well, I haven't made my mind. My mind's not set on it. So I'm happy to see what he can bring to the table. Then you got the other side is I don't know what he's going to bring to the table, and because I don't know, the percentages of succeeding to failing is higher.
Yeah, if you're smart and rational, you can't be excited about this much ambiguity and and how he's going to help us, right? Because we all saw Hugo this season costing us, 5 matches, 20-something points from just one mistake in a game, right? One blunder. Right, and that's the thing. Even look at Courtois. When he left Chelsea and went to Spain, it took him a season to bed in. Right? And that's a less difficult league. And that's just because it's the timing, right? The speed, the pace, the timing of the game you have to adjust to as a keeper before you can really be on your game. And that's the thing. Raya coming from the Premier League into the Premier League, there's less adjustment there, right?
He's at that speed, isn't he?
Yeah.
He lives in London.
Used to the players. He's used to the attackers, right? He's played all of the same competition before.
Lives in London.
Lives in London. There's just less risk, right?
Yeah.
See, and this is why I like coming onto this show, because I go on these Twitter spaces too, and I lose brain cells after about 5 minutes, and I have to leave. There's so many variables coming in and out of Spurs right now, to where if anybody is expecting top 5 or a Champions League spot, you need to have your head checked. Because there's so much that needs to go out and so much that needs to come in, and an entire new system that needs to be established. How many times have you seen a new manager come into a team with, no offense, that has so many question marks in it, and turn it around and get top 4? You guys understand the expectations, so don't get caught up, or with the reality. So don't get caught off of this. Like, we just went through this at Arsenal. Same thing. Same exact thing. We had 2 eighth place finishes in a row. The only reason we have Arteta is because he won an FA Cup, and we stuck with that. So People need to control their expectations and honestly expect a mid-table finish, and hopefully, like, you know, and for you guys, you know, I'm not a Spurs fan, obviously, not a Spurs fan. But for you guys understand, and you guys can maybe hope for a European place. Like, that's the best you can hope for right now, given the variables that you have in the cup right now.
I think I said 8th, 10th when we were chatting last week.
Yeah.
Lee, you've been a bit quiet. What's your views?
On what? I've been very vocal. Just haven't been listening.
I was just trying to get you involved, mate.
I think I've said it before. I don't think I'm like DJ said. These have to. We're going to
Keep
be
our
off
feet
to
on the ground.
Yeah, my expectations is that we are going whatever the outcome is next season. There's no expectation of a goal. I'd like to see him come in, put a squad together. It's going to take him time to get that squad to gel, especially at the beginning of the season. I don't want people pissing on him or moaning at him for, results as they go in the first 10 games, because it took him 12 games at
That's
11
a
or 12
fundamental
games.
part there.
11 or 12 games at Celtic to even get to a point where they clicked, and then it started. And then from there on, they pushed on and won what they did. He needs to be left alone and do his stuff. You know, if we get to like 15, 20 games in the season, and then it's still we're in the mud and we're at the bottom of the table, then maybe it was wrong thing to do, and maybe you just can't, do it at the high level. But we've got to give the guy a chance. And if he comes in and says, you know what, there's at least 8 or 9 teams that are potentially going for top 4. We'll take every game as it comes in the league. We'll put 100% in there, but then we're going to put. We're not going to go light in the FA Cup or the Milkshake Cup. Then have a good old run at those. You never know. Maybe we can have a run at one of the cups.
The thing is, Lee, you've been in that stadium as well of more recent times, and the one thing the fans have proven to me certainly is the patience, man.
Oh,
the
patience
patience
part.
part.
I get it.
It is. Listen, to a degree, I understand. I do get it. I do understand the patience, but all I would like to see, and I hope I speak for the majority when I say this, as long as you see there's what they're trying to do, what it is they're trying to implement, what it is the style of play that they want to play. Is it something that we can get on board with? Because we've seen some really dross football in the last 3 seasons. Now this guy's coming in and he's going to bring a more forward thinking on the front foot. So these are all the things that we as fans like to hear and want to see. But you're right. You have to give him the time to implement that. Also, the players who have played in the previous owners have a different style of playing, low block, mid block. This guy looks like he wants to play on the front foot, so that tells me that the defense is going to be a little bit higher. You can't do that with Longley and Dyer high defense. You can't do it.
Listen, I'd rather first 5 games of the season, right? I'd rather see 5-1-0 losses, right? But 50-50 possession against mid-table teams and 9 shots on goal or 10 shots on goal, then 4 draws and 1 win, and we've had 3 shots on target on 5 games. That's what it was. That's the piss take it was of us last year and the year before. It was like, Tottenham have done this and they've nicked a 1-0 win, but they've only had 4 shots on target in the last 28 games, and it's just like that can't happen anymore. We can't just be sitting back and nicking stuff. We need to, if we're going to push on and attack people, and if they nick a goal, they nick a goal. But that's the risk you take when you push up so high, right?
Of course.
But he can't be whipped for that though. You can't want an attacking style of football and then start pissing and moaning at him when we lose a game 1-0 because we're trying to attack. We have a high line. You can't have it both ways. And you're right. Patience of the fans is the biggest thing for me.
I think we need to get that defense a little bit tighter, a little bit more locked. And
Yep.
of course, a lot will also depend at the other end with Harry Kane, what's happening. Because if Bayern Munich, if we go by what's been stated, and they're real serious about getting him, then we're going to lose quite a lot of goals from our main striker. So it's going to be tough. A lot does ride on him staying another season, even if it means that he has to leave at the end of the season on a free. Then so be it. But I do believe that he's got to stay on for us to flourish. It would make a lot. It would make the job a lot simpler for the manager, where he doesn't have to worry about that part of the field. You know, he has to focus more on the defensive side, get the Bissouma up and running, because we haven't really had the real Bissouma, and I'm looking
Make
to
the
see
chances. No?
a much better player in him. I do want to see it. I think he can be a real. It's like having a new signing. Let's be honest. I think we haven't seen that Brighton Bissouma, and of course, like I said up front, Son. We know of the problems that he's had because he's publicly declared them. Said he wasn't right for a long periods of that season, where he was almost forced to
Fucking
play.
hernia.
Yeah,
Bloody hernia.
so it's big. You know, that's a big problem for a player. And hopefully, he's had the time, international games permitting, he's had the time to get himself right to go again next season. He will be, his game was going to go up. Kulusevski, not knowing if he was coming or going, now he's here. He will be here for the next 5 seasons. Hopefully, he can steer clear of those injuries and give his input and see the player that we saw the second half of the season before. So I think all of that, Richarlison, he has to give more. We know that. And obviously Harry Kane, for me, a lot rides on him staying or going, because if he goes, that means we've got to get another striker again. Do we go and get a proven striker, or do we take a chance of a novice, another one?
Mm.
Well,
A
That's
lot
when
of
you've got
factors
to get
that need to
anyone
be-
like anything, even in remotely close to Kane's, level, is going to be hard enough as it is. Even
spend the money.
because we haven't got the European football, etc., to offer, and it's going to be a hard sell.
There's
You've got to
really
get
nobody
someone.
even close.
No,
You would have
nothing,
to
nowhere near close to it.
you would
Did you
only
guys hear?
you would have to hope.
Rumor?
Sorry,
Did
go
you guys
ahead.
Did you guys hear the rumor that we could end up in the Conference League if Juventus pops out?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
Is
saw
that
that.
right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
European football's back.
How's that work, Will?
There's
I
that.
thought that. I
So-
thought there
so
was a rumor, but
Juventus-
someone debunked it.
So Juventus, in order to get even with FIFA, are trying to say, if we pull out of the Conference League, will that clear us of our ban for whatever that they owe for their transfer BS, right? The Paratici stuff. And so if they're going to add a team, it would either be in Italy or they would use coefficient points. If they use coefficient points, Tottenham gets in. If they decided to hand it down to the next person in Italy, then it would be whoever was below Juventus on the table. But that depends on FIFA. So
Yeah,
It's
it'd
not-
probably
it's
be
not-
it'd probably be Empoli, and then Vicario will stay.
So
you're saying
It's like that. No, I don't want to go now. Don't want to go. I'll stay.
Juventus
Well,
is
Will-
trying to negotiate themselves out of this. That's
yeah.
hilarious.
There's a surprise.
And they
Shocking.
say football isn't corrupt.
But no, I'm looking it up. There's another club who is going to be kicked out of the Conference League. Actually, I have it right here. It says UEFA has banned can't pronounce it. Osasuna from next season's Conference League
Osasuna.
because of their involvement in match fixing in 2013. That's a Spanish club. UEFA is deciding if they're going to be removed. And actually, yeah, they have been banned. That was on Friday. So that's 2 spots that open up.
Osasuna. Damn, that means we can get into the UEFA.
Yeah. So that means Tottenham might have to play the Conference League.
That would be the most Spursy way to get into the Conference League ever. I'm just saying.
You know what, guys? I don't know if I want it that way. I really don't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
not.
if
I'm
I want
not.
it.
No, I'd rather earn it than be given
Hey,
it.
that's
Yeah.
how Arsenal got into the league back in the day, right? So I mean,
By any means possible.
You
I don't know.
gotta take your chances. Eh? You gotta take your chances. When you get them.
Listen. This is all full circle, right? So Paratici does a load of dodgy deals at Juventus, which ultimately gets them, chucked out of the competition. He ends up at Tottenham, and says, "My job is done. We're in, boys. We didn't need to win. We didn't need to get seventh. We just need to let my plan come into." And then we're in. Yeah, that was the
It's like,
plan
I
all
told
along.
you.
And then he
I
starts it
told
all
you,
over
Daniel.
again with Spurs.
Yeah.
I told you,
Start-
Daniel.
Yeah.
It would all be all right.
We'll get
That's
kicked
the-
out next year
that's
for
the
not
right
using FIFA-approved toilet paper in the stadium.
But that's the Brighton way. He actually did it the Brighton way.
Oh my.
It's the Brighton way.
Penny.
Right, because that was going to be one of my things actually. So Postecoglou's come out saying he wants to play attacking football, super attacking football, as we know that he has done. And I think we all realistically know with our current players, he can't really do that, right?
What
How
highlight?
many players realistically do you need to change
Well,
around?
I mean, for the starting 11, if we've got this goalkeeper and he's supposed to be, being able to play in a high line, sweep, do all those things. Really, all we really need, if we're going to play a four at the back with the Doji and Poro and Emerson, is really just someone to play next to Romero. So one good quality, at least Romero's quality center back in that back line will at least make the starting 11 viable, right? And then adding one, say Madison comes in, that would be the other piece just to get the starting 11. Because you got Son, Kane, Kulu, Madison, Basuma, Bentancur when he comes back in November, or somebody filling in for him in the short term. It's really not as bad as it looks, right? Like there's a pretty quality squad there if you have one center back and one attacking midfielder that play alongside. So
add to your point, Will,
system.
to your point, the fact that we're playing one game a week could favour not having a big squad.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's kind of, I guess you could say, a blessing in disguise that we don't have any Europe if the rebuild's going to take some time. For me, I'm okay. I can support any manager. I supported Nuno, right? So for me, it's never been a problem getting behind the manager. It's getting behind the policies and the transfer policies of this ownership that I have a problem with. Like, I don't understand how a single Tottenham fan can trust or believe that we're going to do anything after the past 5 years that we've had at this club. Like, it boggles my mind the amount of cognitive dissonance people live in order to make this club bigger than it is right now.
Well, you're being negative.
Well, you sound pretty toxic.
That's what they're saying.
I'm being honest.
I'm telling you, from last week, it's just like people had amnesia. Last week, we get Vicario. The way we got Vicario, right? I said, Vicario, okay, solid signing, okay. But he was our first choice. If it was the Brighton way, we would have never talked to Raya, right? 40 mil. I know my club. I know we
But not only that,
Raya.
but no, this just real quickly before my battery dies on this Brighton way thing, right? Being the local stat guy here on the channel.
Yeah.
How can we be all of a sudden be doing it the Brighton way when we haven't hired any of the statisticians necessary to do it the Brighton way?
Exactly.
Right? Like it's like, oh, by the way, all of a sudden, all the crap recruiters and crap recruitment guys and all the crap and analysts that we had for the past 5 years that brought us the likes of Ndombele and Brian Hill and even Emerson and all of these players. By the way, they're all of a sudden going to start playing Moneyball when they haven't been able to do it in the past. Right? Like you have to hire the people, right?
Yeah.
Like look at Liverpool's drop. That was because they lost their key analytics guy to Newcastle. And is it a coincidence that you see Newcastle rise, Liverpool fall, based off the hiring and firing of a few guys in the back room who are in charge of doing analytics, right? It's not like something you can just do. You have to hire people that understand that system, understand that way, right? Have we gone out and hired any data analysts from the United States, from the Major League Baseball, or from any of those things where they actually know how to do that type of a thing? No, we haven't hired anyone. In fact, we've lost people out of the back room. But all of a sudden, we're going to be doing things. We're doing things the right way, guys. Trust the process.
That's why I said about
We got Scott Munn now. Come on.
Yeah, Scott Munn.
like I said in my video. I'll say the 2 G's, right? Brighton and teams that use the Moneyball aspect, they believe it like the gospel. For us, it's the other G. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. So last week, I'm listening to all these people. Now they're quiet. They're moonwalking because Paratici is still involved. I wonder how we knew about Vicario. Maybe because of Paratici. That's why I said this fan base has me just laughing most of the time. Just laughing because it's just it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But they still expect European football at the end of all of it. So
no, because it defies logic. It defies logic. If someone was to listen to this whole stream from when we started and how we've spoken about it, so then at the end of it say, yeah, I still want top 4. It just doesn't.
it's just ridiculous.
You haven't really. You've missed the whole 1 hour and 20 minutes
Yeah.
of what we've been speaking about. It doesn't work that way. It's not a fair expectation. The fair it needless to go back and review as to why we're in this situation in the first place. We know what happened post 2019 and how we got to this point. But now it's like we need to draw a line under it and say we need to start something new. We need to start something fresh. And these are the steps that we need to take in order to do so. But at some point, it goes back to every other season. It will require the board to rightfully intervene at the times that's needed to do so. And that is to back the project that you are bringing before you. Otherwise it's he doesn't get the players that he wants. He can't bring into fruition what he wants to do. He doesn't get the results. The fans start getting on your back. Before you know it, you're managerless by the time autumn, winter hits. It doesn't work that way. You need to back the guy, give him the best chance possible to succeed, because if he succeeds, then you do as well. So at some point, we need to get this house in order. And I think now is the time. Whether we do it or not, I don't know, man. I am a little bit skeptical after last season, and what's happened to to get us to this point. I am a little bit skeptical. For someone like me to be skeptical is quite bad, because I'm normally quite good about these things. But last season scared me, and I just want to put that to one side now and say, look, I'm willing to get on board again, but give me something. Give me something to cling on and say, right, let's go again. We got a few more days before we hit July, and then let's see what happens. Because listen, this season is going to start really quick. July. We got the Australian tour in mid July, so it's huge. It's huge. The amount of work that needs to be done is huge. Both with players coming in and players going out. So the quicker we get this ball rolling, the better.
That's why it's kind of building up to this thing, isn't it? As like the 1st of July, like everyone's kind of like kind of fixated on this 1st of July, which is suddenly kind of like when everything is going to fall into place. But then literally on is it like the 13th or 14th or something? We literally fly away to China.
Yeah, no, I
think
agree.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's and this is the other thing. There's nothing worse for a new manager or anybody starting a new job in management that needs to assemble these players together, trying to work them on a training ground, and then he's going to fly to Australia. He's going to go to China. He's got all these different tours that they're going to do, and you just think to yourself, man, couldn't they just be at Hotspur Away, play their friendlies in England? Just play them in your country. I know everybody wants living everywhere in the world. There's Spurs fans all over the world, just like any other club that has fans all over the world. and you rightfully want to go to these countries to go and make sure so the play, fans can see their teams close up. But this is 1 year where you just think to yourself, just stay home, get your house in order, just get your players and get them to train and get them to work for that first Premier League game of the season. But you know what? It's a business after all. It is.
Iggy, I will say this: there is some value when you go on these tours, but because they went, it was confused because they went far east last summer and they're going to Asia back to back. I would have thought that they would have probably came back to the States in regards to, because you kind of want to go, okay, this side and that side of the world, back and forth. It seems like they're hitting all of Asia. They usually skip Africa, and then they go to the United States. It seems like they're going towards that pattern. And I would say this, that for their brand, because that does play a part of of having your club out there in regards to market brand. You kind of want to still do those tours. So I kind of get why they do that. I was just wondering why they haven't come to this side of the world. It's back-to-back years on the other side of the world. So
There's a huge market. You guys are one of the most popular clubs in the Asian market, which is why you guys always go down there. But that's what I'm saying. Here's the thing that I don't get though. Here's the thing that I don't get is
nothing
that
against Australia, by the way. But
what were you gonna say? Sorry, what did you say?
no, they're going to Australia. It's an Australian trip. They're not.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But I'm just saying that region of the world, you are still very, like, in terms of fan percentage, I would be willing to bet that you have a larger percentage of fans there. But what I don't get, and I'm going to go on to Iggy's point too, is that why aren't you guys on the US tour with the 6 other Premier League teams that are coming over here to play friendlies? That would be a good way to market with the Premier League and get your house in order. Like that's a really, really good point, because you got Newcastle coming over here, you got Fulham coming over here, West Ham.
Well, that's the point I'm getting at. Those clubs, they always tend to, like Real Madrid, which is a global club, always comes to the United States. Even if they're going somewhere else, they always come to the United States because they know they have that niche in Florida, Texas, California, and so they know to always, come through the States because they want to make sure their brand stays intact. So I'm just kind of weirded why, back-to-back years on the other side of the globe. But like I said, I have nothing against Australia. But I knew last year's trip, they benefited big time, especially because Sonny just won Golden Boot, and so that was perfect of a trip. And we just got Champions League, so it was good. But now with all this confusion and about team, and the good thing is Big Ange is going there. He's Australian, and so it just happens to be the time where we're going to Australia. So,
I think we've got. I mean, our first game was July the 18th at West Ham, and we're playing that in Australia. Then on July the 23rd, we've got Leicester City in Bangkok, Thailand. So, and then the third game is against Roma, July the 26th, and that's going to be played in Singapore. So those are the 3 games so far scheduled. And like I said, Australia, then you go Thailand, then you go in Singapore, and then 13th of August we got Brentford. So I just think there's. I mean, I get it. I get the whole thing, the tour thing, the touring thing.
Commercially, you need it.
Yeah,
and everything
commercially,
like that,
I
right?
get
But
there's all
it
that.
just
Yeah, you
doesn't
have
help.
to. But I just think to myself, there's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of. So if we're playing on the 18th of July our first game. That means preseason is going to start 2 weeks before. So where's the time in to get your house in order in whilst you're doing all of that? I don't know.
Assessing players,
Assessing
getting them
that where
into his
you're going to have
shape.
the
He's trying
time.
to
The
tell
players
them where
coming
to
back from
play.
loan.
All of this.
If your manager and your team is out on, not everybody's going to go to Australia, Singapore, and Thailand.
Yeah.
So who's dealing with the guys that are staying at home? Last year we had that situation. I was there.
Mason.
I was at Hospital Way. We had a team that went all the way to was it China they went to, or South Korea?
No,
They went to South Korea.
Mm.
There was players training at Hotspur Way. I was there. I could see them go in and out all the time. So now, and that was with Conte here, and you know they had an established
3,
already.
4, 5 people within his
But
staff.
here, to this year, Postecoglou is going to be out there with them. So who's checking out the players that have been left at Hospital Way? The players that are on the verge. I just think it's
it'll be
we need to get to
my
grips with
mate,
that.
my mate Ryan Mason, wasn't it? Or their mate Ryan Mason, should I say? Right,
I don't
big
know.
up to a user who's given us a super chat. So thank you very much. Iggy,
What do I
what do you
think of
think?
tonight? Right, Tonali, Sandro. Listen, I think Newcastle have made a fantastic acquisition of Sandro Tonali. I think he's a really good player. He combines quality with quantity. I think he's superbly fit athlete who covers the 4 blades of grass. He covers the all he works a lot in covering a lot of his good tackle on the ball, but like I said, he combines quantity with quality. Good set piece taker as well, and I think him with Gimenez, is that Gimenez,
Bruno.
in a 3-man midfield, I think he will take over. I think he's perfect for the Premier League. He's at the right age, 23 years old. He's currently playing in the Euros, representing Italy. So for those who want to get a little bit more familiar, check out Italy. I think they're playing the next game the weekend. I think I could be wrong. I need to check it out. They played recently, but anyway, check out the next Italy game, and you can see he has the qualities to do well. So I think he's a brilliant acquisition. A little bit over the mark. They paid over the odds, but Newcastle won't have a problem. They won't care because they have. Listen, they're richer than City. They're richer than PSG. I think Newcastle are the real deal, and I think this is the new Man City coming to the Premier League, and they're gonna.
And I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna say this too. Kudos to Newcastle in getting him. Kudos to Newcastle still pursuing him, even when he said no, because there are reports. I pulled up like 8 or 9 articles of him in tears. He did not want to go to Newcastle. No. He did not want to go.
He didn't not want to go to New. He didn't want to leave Milan.
Yeah,
in his idea, he wanted to be a Milan player because he's a Milan fan. He wanted to be the captain of the club. He had a different vision of it. But with
I'm getting to that point because I know because people watch different streams. I remember being on another stream, 24-hour stream, that was just saying at this point last year, right? Because remember, Newcastle, yes, they have the money, but they don't have that pedigree like other top clubs. They're getting there. They're getting there. I said that last year when we had top 4 and we had Conte in as manager, we should have pressed hard for Bastoni. And I got criticized in another stream. Oh, well, once the player says no, you leave it at best. Milan needed the money.
Yeah.
Kudos to Newcastle to forcing Milan's hand to say, hey, we're going to get this deal done. Unlike us, we did last year, because someone in another stream said players don't change their mind if they want to be with their boyhood club. As well, there goes one example of Tonali. And I could go back all the way to Paulo Dybala, who did not want to leave Juventus. But to wrap it up, when you're not wanted by the club that you're currently in, and you could be madly in love with that club, but if that club has to do what they have to do as a club, as a player, you adjust. And if you have a plan, they will join you. and we all know why Paulo Dybala didn't come to us, because of the image rights, because he changed his mind. And
We
Tonali,
didn't pursue it. Fundamentally, we didn't pursue it. They pursued it. They got their man. Milan got the money, 70, 80
You
million euros.
put money on the table,
And
innit?
Tonali, out of that deal, he went from 2.5 million a year to 10 million a year. So he made quite a bit of jump to his wages as well. So everybody won in that deal. Nobody
And
lost.
at the end of the day, Milan would just say to him, and even if it wasn't, look,
Yeah, they could have
I
said
know,
no, but of course,
I know you love the club. I know you love the club, but look how much money we're getting,
yeah.
and it's going to help the club so much. We'll
So you
bring
gotta take the
you
deal.
back.
And
We'll
I'm,
bring you back
you
if we
back in
can
how
later,
I
yeah.
the Saudi Arabians, the Saudi Arabian League and the Premier League are the two most powerful leagues right now, and they can get whoever they set their minds to. Everybody else has
Just
to accept it.
really quickly, let me just say the disabled
Big up,
team.
big up,
Big
big
up.
up,
Thank
big
you
up.
very much
Welcome
for
aboard.
becoming a YouTube member. Really appreciate it. Right, where were we? I had a question that I starred, which I wanted to ask you guys actually from Tony
Smash a like,
Rodriguez.
guys. By the way, make sure you hit those likes.
What do you guys think about this director of football situation?
You have one. Paratici. You have one. What's the question?
He's just got his Word document open.
He's now a
Yeah.
consultant.
He's sharing a doc from home, a Google Doc from home. It's good. It's called DOF Doc.
Do you know, Tony? On all jokes aside, the biggest problem I have, the biggest ball breaker that I have with this club is the lack of communication coming out from it, the lack of dialogue with the fans. I think England in general, I do think it's a national problem. I don't think it's just a Tottenham problem. I think it's a generally a Premier League British thing, right? Where there's a lack of communication with the fans. I mean, they don't have to respond to everything, but every so often, make a club statement. Get your director of football, who's supposed to be representing your club, let him be the link between the club and the fans, who's communicating via the media. But just keep that line open, because I think it's so vitally important that the fans are still, and it's hard today to feel connected with the club, and I think especially at Tottenham there's a real disconnect from the club, and I think it's very important that they build on that again, because right now if you ask every Spurs fan, do they feel connected to their club? I got a feeling they'll say more no than yes, and I think this is something that needs to change drastically, because in any other league, in the Spanish, Italian, whatever, they have a link and a representative that speaks up in the media, and more often that's the role of the director of football, that is the link between the fans and the club, and I think this needs to improve massively as of next season. I really do believe that.
But that's one thing I heard, Iggy, when Paratici came in, was that, do you know what? This is how they do it in Italy. They have the manager. So at those press conferences, the manager talks about the team coming up, the tactics, the subs, blah, 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 blah. Any other questions about
With the
transfers,
club,
rumors, blah,
that's
blah,
what he's
blah, blah,
there
blah.
for.
He's sitting next to him, and that's his responsibility to
I,
answer, right?
I
And
will
I
say
thought,
more.
you know what,
I will
that would
say
be really
more.
good,
The doctor,
right?
they also have a press conference. I watch Serie A all the time. They have press conferences with the club doctors, who they ask him directly with any situation that you have with injuries in your club. They will say to you, what's happening with Bentancur? What is the situation with Bentancur right now? And he will break down every little detail of that, and how long his recovery is going to be, exactly when we expect him on the pitch, for how many minutes, in what game can we expect him. He's there for those. This is what Conte was on about. I've got to answer. Do you remember he was saying it? I've got to answer for the injuries. I've got to answer for the club. And he's like, why is it only me presenting myself with my face? I should be talking about.
The football.
The football side of it. This is why you have club doctors at the club, but none of them, for some reason, I say again, it's a British thing. We don't get these guys to speak with the media, and we should, because that's their profession. The doctor should tell you the lowdown of the injuries. The director of football should tell you what's going on within the club, and it reveal however much they can reveal to you. But I understand that they can't reveal everything, but they can some way build a communication, and then let the coach, the manager, what we call him here, but it's actually a coach, speak of only the team affairs, which is what he's paid to do. That's it. I think that needs to improve. Everybody's got to do their roles and speak of their roles because as fans, it's a global thing, isn't it? It's we want to know every little part of our club. We don't just want to know the football. We want to know how everything is, and why not have the professionals, the people that cover that role, speak to us about it? I think it's the right way to go about it in modern day society with social media, with everything that goes on. We've got to be. We are a constant source of information, and they need to provide that information as we request it.
But that's where everything goes kind of skew with, doesn't it? Because suddenly then everyone starts making up a version of what they think that's happening right now, and what's up with him, and oh, he's going to be out for 18 weeks, or oh no, he's not, this has happened to him, that's happened to him, etc. And then suddenly everyone gets up into this frenzy, don't they? And especially now with the way the clubs, the journey the club's been in the last 2 years, 3 years even. Now's the time to come out and almost take ownership and lead, right? That's what you want.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It needs to happen. It has to happen. And I think, Spurs are. I think the other clubs are a little bit better than us in regards to this. But I think for me, looking at it from a Spurs perspective, we need to improve on that massively, because our communication is diabolical. It really is.
Cloak and daggers. And daggers.
Yeah.
Right, what else we got? So I guess we've talked about a lot of other fans overhyped, and I think we've had that chat, right? Because I think everyone just needs to, as we were saying earlier, probably just keep their feet on the ground a little bit. When we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, I think I said, you know what, next year, foundation. Let him lay his foundations, let him put his strategies in place, let him get a couple of pieces of the jigsaw, and then we kick on from there.
Absolutely. But before we go, what do you guys make of what's going on with Saudi Arabia coming to get all the players and taking them at every single one of them? And I can understand players at the end of their careers, like Benzema and stuff like that, but players like Neves.
So this is how the big clubs like Manchester City, Newcastle, and Chelsea are going to get around the brand new FFP rules that Daniel Levy's betting the house on.
It's so true. You know what, Will? I was saying off stream earlier on. I heard something about Gattuso, right? He has been, let's say, captured. Maybe captured is not the right word, but he's
purchased.
Purchased. He's been purchased. He's been given them this massive wage to go and manage in Saudi Arabia. But they will first purchase him, give him the contract, whatever, give him all the money that he wants. They'll bring him, and then when he gets there, they will say, choose the club you want to manage. Just choose whatever one you want. Just want to manage this club, go and manage this club. I don't understand. They're just bringing everyone over there, and then they kind of just say, right, where do you want to go and play? Do you want to go and play there? Because they've
make a league. That's literally making a league.
Literally purchasing everyone, and they say, right. Yeah, you belong to me, but I want you to go and play for that team. It's incredible what's happening.
It's kind of how MLS does it, to be honest. So
it is. No, that's exactly right. They're buying up name recognition. That's all they're doing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter when. They have the money to do it, so they're going to do it. So
they pretty much got together for like Messi, right? In terms of like.
Yeah.
Well, no, collectively, the MLS got together to bring Messi in, and they had to put together all sorts of commercial packages. He gets a percentage of Apple TV's revenue for what he brings in. I don't know, Will, does he get a percentage of sales too? Because he sold out every
shirt
away
sales. He gets a
game as
percentage
well.
of shirt. Yeah, he gets a percentage of shirt sales in the entire club. So the way MLS works is really a weird system. Is none of the clubs own any of the players. The league owns all the players.
Wow.
Okay? And so their contracts, the players' contracts, are with the league, not the clubs. So it's a bit of a weird situation there. So. But yeah, like the away games and stuff like that, like away ticket prices are going to go skyrocket. I've heard like some MLS games were playing against Miami, who's at the bottom of the table, by the way, the worst team in the league, are going for like $800 a seat. So it's just
wow.
That's not David Beckham's team, is it?
No, yeah, that's David Beckham's team. Yeah.
And then
he will get paid $8.9 million for taking a holiday in Saudi Arabia. He just has to do it at least once a year with his family, take a photo, put it on Instagram to say that he was there, and he gets nearly $9 million.
Cha-ching.
Mate, I tell you, this is
That's
nuts.
not bad work if you can get it, right?
No, not at all, man. Not at all.
I think Lee gets close to that.
Yeah, get it. So we got a bit. Yeah. Wouldn't adjust.
Well, $8.99.
It's almost
as if
they're building the Super League in Saudi Arabia.
Weird thought.
There's not a bid coming up for a World Cup anytime soon, is there?
Probably,
maybe
2030
plant the seed.
World Cup. They're trying to get to 2030. They're trying to use Messi as an ambassador
They are.
to get the bid. What's the currently what they're trying to do? They're trying to get the 2030 World Cup. Yeah.
Right. I think we're towards the latter part or towards the end part, should we say, Iggy?
Yeah,
Any
JP, the good news
got any
is that
questions from everyone?
next time when we meet up next Monday, when we meet up again, we would have officially the Ange Postecoglou era would have started, and with preseason will be in, and we start looking forward to hopefully some games. So this is going to be the last week of where there's zero football or action, so to speak. But you know what, guys, do keep an eye out for the Euro under 21s, because there are some players there that are on a very watchful eye, like Van der Ven we mentioned. Get to see Tonali, we just mentioned him earlier on, and there'll be one or two other, maybe you never know, maybe a new star rises from that tournament, and before you know it, you see him in the Premier League. So do keep an eye out for those the Euros. Very important that we watch the youngsters play as well.
Yeah, and the Gold Cup, you can skip that. Well, I mean, if you're not a U.S. fan, you can watch it. But if you're a U.S. fan, you can skip the Gold Cup, because our roster is like our C bench.
Yeah, it's
not even B, but not A, C team. So.
Talking of the US, well, Timothy Weah looks like he's going to be joining Juventus. That's happening.
Yeah, there's a couple of links that way. Timothy Weah, I think even Pulisic too was linked with Juventus.
Yeah. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, man.
Yeah, Juventus is going to be the new Leeds. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know.
The new Leeds. Oh. Right, guys. Mahri, when you on next?
I am on actually tomorrow with the Prem Lounge. Going to on the other channel, World Football Media.
Is it tomorrow, not Wednesday? Not Wednesday? Or is it
Wednesday's First Lounge?
Gotcha.
Wednesday's First Lounge. Football is Thursday. Prem Lounge is Tuesday. So that's when you'll find me. So you'll see me on the other channel, World Football Media, on Tuesday and Thursday, Premier Lounge, and Football Away. I'll probably do some videos. I'm preparing a video about the Gold Cup. If anybody's interested in that, like I said, there'll be a lot of content on that channel. But Spurs Lounge will be Wednesday.
Guys, make sure you subscribe not only to this channel, Tottenham Away, but also subscribe to World Football Media channel for and make sure you activate the notification bell so any uploads, any live streams, Mahri that's just been talking about. I do my morning videos, and there'll be other videos. JP's been doing videos, Will's been doing the videos during the day as well. So any uploads, any stream going live, you'll be the first to know if you just activate the notification bell. So make sure to subscribe, guys.
And hopefully something actually happens, so I have something to make a video about. Right?
We're getting closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer to that July the 1st. Let's hope we have Madison wrapped up. That would be a real. I mean, I'd really be buzzing if we get him. I mean,
it's getting to the.
I'm not saying that we are.
It's getting to the point now where I'm gonna start doing TikTok dances and uploading those to the channel because I don't know what's going on.
Well, Will, you've done your watches. Will, you've done your watches. You've done your perfumes. I think next you should do most comfortable flip flop.
Breaking news: City makes a 114 million pound bid for Declan Rice.
Wow.
Oh, TJ, you guys are in the mud. I've been watching TJ's videos. If you guys haven't subscribed to TJ's channel, it's a good channel. One of my favorite Arsenal channels, to be honest with you, right now. So,
hey, thanks, Will. I appreciate that. No, I literally read that. I read that about 5 minutes ago, and I have not said a word since because I'm fuming. So,
TJ, how can you compete with this? This is with 80 plus 10. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You cannot.
You could just pay what they're asking for. You could just say, "Hey, you want 100 million? Give them 100 million."
Come on, the Declan Rice, very good player. I'm not gonna say that he's not a good player, but this is extortion right here. This is ridiculous. You
can always fall back onto Ward Prowse. Ward Prowse is available. Just go pick him up from Southampton.
I think he's worth it, but that's just me. I think
you can. You know what? I would take a chance and go and get Calvin Phillips. I would. You probably get him for half of the. I would.
He's not near the level of player, Iggy. He's not near the level of player. I don't think.
But because he doesn't play. But I think he was up to that last World Cup. I think he was a good enough player. But look, there's players, there's good players you can pick up for less than that.
I think Rice is probably levels above those.
Look, TJ, you just need to go get
100 million.
Go get Tyler Adams, and you'll be better.
Well, anytime I bring up Tyler Adams, I get hissed out of every.
I know, but you gotta just ignore the American hate.
He's quality. Is that the Leeds player? He's quality.
I would take Tyler Adams. I would take Tyler Adams. I'm all good with I would take Romeo Lavia too as a bench player too. So we're still linked with him. So,
but guys,
Mr. Post Office, I wish like I said, you were on you were on Mahri's stream earlier. We got in a fight, but I wish I was that positive. I really do.
But you know what, guys? It's context. You got to look at players like Tyler Adams. If you just look at it per se, but then there's the context that you put him in. If you put him in a good side that would establish players, and Arsenal are a good side. They would take the piss out whatever we want. They're a good side. They're a good moment right now. They've got a good setup, and he would fit perfectly because you're in that momentum of that youngsters, and you got a lot going on there. So if you put Tyler amongst that, I think he could do really well. And you won't spend 100 million. You can't spend 100 million pounds on Declan Rice. However good he is, he's not worth 100 million. I'm sorry.
I don't think he's worth 60. If you I don't think
our level. I think that's.
I hope Arsenal ends up spending 100 million pounds on Declan Rice because then your transfer window's done, right? Because it's
not going to be him and Casado, is it?
The problem you got that when the likes of Man City, Newcastle, and these teams, once they get their claws in, that's it. It's done.
Iggy, I just want it to be over so we can know what Arsenal's going to do the rest of the transfer window. Like it seems like we're pausing on sans Kai Havertz, which I still don't understand that signing. I've said it over and over and over again. If you guys check out my
I'll be honest.
I literally so this domino has to fall before we can get rid of Sambi Lakanga, before we can get rid of
Thomas Partey's on his way
Thomas
to Saudi
Partey,
Arabia as
before you
well.
can get rid of Xhaka, before you can get rid of all this dead wood that is still in Arsenal, because yes, we do still have dead wood at this club that we need to do. We have transfer business that we need to do.
With the signing of Kyverts, where does that leave players like Smith Rowe and players? I don't know where that leaves them.
I don't think that Arteta rates Emile Smith Rowe as highly as the fan base does. But I think Emile Smith Rowe is a baller. I think he's being disrespected, to be 100% honest with you, with the way he gets played or the way he doesn't get played. So, I mean, he's scoring goals left and right for the U21s in England. So I don't understand why he is not a main part of the squad. Yeah, he had injury problems last season, but at the same time, you know, you saw what he did the season prior. So why is he not getting a shot? I don't know.
It's a big summer for everyone, man. A lot of players are going to be. I don't think we've heard the last of it. I think the craziness of the transfers. I think this is just the beginning of it.
Oh, yeah.
31st of August. That's a long, long time away. It's going to be crazy between now and then.
100%.
Well, it's going to be mental for us. Come the 1st of July. We're just like,
imagine an announcement, bang, 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 yeah. 3 players, boom, 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 boom. You imagine. I don't even want to imagine. Forget about it. It's just dreamland now.
Will, you're out of town for a bit, right?
Yeah, I am filming some stuff for work. So I'm going to be out here for at least till July 9th. But as long as the power doesn't go out again, I should be able to continue on doing things. Me and TJ are going to be doing some stuff on the USMNT stuff. So check that out.
Yeah, you sold that really well earlier, by the way, Will. You just said that we were playing our C team and we're going to do a watch along on Sunday. So yeah.
Yeah, but hey, but this is the thing that I want. There's a good angle for this for the Yanks, right? And that is, if we can still dominate CONCACAF with our C team, then our team is better than a lot of people want to put it on. Because I was surprised that we drew 1-1 with Jamaica with the team that they've got now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got Gray, you got Antonio, Bailey. You know, they got Jamaica's got a pretty good team, and our youngsters and MLS guys did a decent job at keeping the scoreline low.
Mexico came back last night.
Yeah, Mexico, but that's the thing. Mexico's rocking it 4-0, but let's just see if we do. If the US
if we can't handle Trinidad and Tobago, we have large problems. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll get out of the group, but I mean the knockouts, especially because Mexico's fielding a pretty strong team because they don't allow any of their players to play in Europe. So
and we have suspensions we have to deal with coming out of that Mexico game too. So
and big up to Haiti coming back, winning, being Qatar. I know it's Qatar, but
hey, a dub's a dub.
Yeah, but
you gotta listen to Scott M. Look, Canada's playing their F team.
Canada might be going bankrupt.
Canada doesn't have an F team. It's like they have their B team, and then there's nothing. They might as well play the U16s because
Canada might be going bankrupt. They might not be able to play the
no alligators down here. There's a bunch of turtles and stuff, but no alligators.
Big up user for the super chat.
Big up their user. Thanks for the super chat.
Maybe at Will's video he can get an alligator in the background, like we've recently had. As you know, I like the sea, so I've had a lake and I've had the sea behind me recently. So
yeah, I'm in Missouri.
Someone said that in the comments. Someone said that in the comments. I can't remember what video it was. This guy JP, when he does a video, is either at that side of the lake, or a beach.
It was Scott M, and I meant to reply actually. Yeah. TJ, when you're next, man?
I'm on Wednesday. I'm doing a transfer show with my buddy Connor. I'll announce the time for that. But our normal American Idiot show, Friday 9 p.m. UK, is the channel's big draw. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting a sub in the chat, we're Arsenal fans on our channel, but we have
Arsenal fans here, mate.
Yeah, we have folks on from all different clubs, especially Stel was on a couple of weeks ago, and that was a blast. We had Will and Stel calling a few weeks before that, so it's always respectful. It's always fun. TJ Warren TV, hit a sub, guys. I'd really appreciate it.
Get over to them.
Head
Get
over there,
hit that
guys.
sub.
Smash that like and
Indeed.
smash that sub, of course.
And last words, Lee.
I'm just what the Caverts? What? I don't get it, man. I really don't.
I don't either.
It's a
So
lot of money, man. 65
yeah,
million.
we don't
That's
have
a lot of
time.
money as well, right?
Yeah, we don't have time for me to rant about that. So if you, go back to my channel. I did a whole
Yeah.
diatribe on it last week. So if you guys want to hear my thoughts on that, feel free to go back. I'm very upset. I'm not. I'm upset.
We'll leave it.
Don't even
We'll
go
leave
there.
it there. We'll leave
Lee,
it
I'm
there.
getting started.
leave
I'm
it.
getting started.
Right. So
That
on
could
that
be
note,
Richarlison all over again.
big thank you to everybody in the chat, especially a user who gave us 2 splendid donations, and a massive big up to the disabled team who became
Big
a
up,
member.
guys. Big up.
Massive thank you. So we'll catch you later. All the
Big up
best.
to everyone in the chat,
Come
guys.
on,
Thanks for
you
tuning
Spurs.
in. And come you Spurs.
Big up the chat. Thanks
Big
for
up.
smashing the like and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
See you soon, guys. Take care.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.